Blizzard once again have done something stupid, I think.
Man, Mike O'Brien got his way 24 years ago. Steam may not have been the default home of PC gaming. That sounds like an insane claim, but I am
Yeah, those sound extremely big words. Let's see if you can back them up.
completely serious. You see, Mike O'Brien was a key member of Blizzard Entertainment in the 90s and early 2000s. He worked in the likes of StarCraft, Diablo, and Warcraft 3, but importantly today, he
Good games, very good games.
also created and architected Battle.net. And in fact, disagreements over Battle.net played a role in his departure from the company, and had Blizzard have went his way, the industry would look very, very different today. But this isn't just a history lesson. Microsoft have acquired Blizzard. Battle.net belongs to them, and now after 20 years of completely failing to compete with Valve on their own operating system, Microsoft has an in. And with Avowed, plus a few other changes, they are finally making their
Avowed is not in. Avowed is not gonna sell copies. We just talked about Avowed today, by the way. Avowed is... I don't know what you were expecting from Avowed, but it's a woke mess.
move. And if you want to make your own move, you got to check out today's sponsor, who are going to sort out all your website needs. So today, just go to squarespace.com/BellularNews, check out Design Intelligence, and when you're ready to send your site live, use code BellularNews for 10% off your first purchase. Right, they released Half-Life, they had Team Fortress Classic, they had Counter-Strike, which was of course humongous. It was a big string of success, but also it became quite annoying. Things like updating Counter-Strike were especially rough in the early days. Of course, internet...
Oh, I love this so much. This is The Office. You probably don't even know this map. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh,
wasn't where it is right now. People had to download and install updates from Valve's site. You'd have people trying to log into the game with the wrong version for the server. It was a mess. And of course, cheating was a really...
Yeah, it was... So, in some private servers, you could play with older patches, and some older patches just made some guns more effective, and it was pretty good playing CS back then, because you could just sometimes use the best patch for what you're playing.
Big problem, and there's the small matter of digital rights management. So, to solve all of these problems, Valve went and they built Steam, and Steam grew from its initial focus of just patching and updating Counter-Strike to being the digital store for Valve games that, at the time, kind of annoyed everybody, especially because if you wanted to play Half-Life 2 whatsoever, you had to activate it on Steam, which at the time was completely a new and abnormal thing that people didn't like. But of course what it was Valve's toehold in the business model.
I don't know if people didn't like that, because, I mean, it was a different time, okay? It was a time where the modern day Zoomer would not survive nowadays if it returned, you know? Updating things was hard. Installing things was stupid. Torrenting was pretty much the same as it is now, only less ads. All of these things were just different.
Model of the future, that of the platform/store. And today, it means that Valve is one of the most efficient companies on earth. It's absolutely bonkers. Leaks from a court case put them at about $19 million of revenue per employee, and that's back in 2021. And for a bit of contrast, the average revenue per employee of an S&P 500 company at that time was 541 grand. Yeah. Valve are an insanely efficient company. And from that early start, Steam just captured enough of a market share
We know this.
to render the competition essentially meaningless, such that even the competitors who pulled games onto their own store, like EA with Origin, of course came crawling back. But the point of today is that
They always do. That's the best part about Gabe. Do nothing, still win big.
it could have went very differently. There is a world where Steam is not number one, and funny enough, in that world, Guild Wars also never existed. Long before Steam existed, Blizzard had Battle.net. It was architected by Mike O'Brien, and basically it ran their multiplayer games, starting off with Diablo, but soon enough it grew. They had copy protection, security, and then of course multiplayer infrastructure, the sort of thing needed to run Diablo 2 and StarCraft multiplayer. And by 1999, they had 2.3 million active users. They had a peak concurrency of 50k, which for the time is big. I mean, just take a look at this. This is a 1999 article from Salon that ran with the headline, "Does Battle..."
Actually, it's Saloon, but I mean, complicated words for British, yeah, I guess.
.NET's success mean that net-based ventures are still dependent on retail sales, which I suppose was pretty forward-looking. Now, around the year 2000, Mike O'Brien pitched a future for the service that he architected, that it would not just be the back-end for Blizzard games, that they could sell other companies' games on it. And given what else Battle.net did, it could presumably do things that Steam does, like offer platform services for multiplayer games. And all of this was years before Steam even existed. But of course it didn't go Mike O'Brien's way. In a mistake that likely has cost Blizzard billions upon billions of lost revenue, they rejected the idea. And versus Steam, they had the first mover advantage.
And that's good, because honestly, I mean, do you trust current day Blizzard? No. Imagine what would happen if Blizzard had more money and influence over the gaming space. Everything Blizzard makes is the most simplistic, not even 70 IQ brain damaged gunk. No one loves it, no one cares about it. Most people who play Blizzard games are just openly admitting, yeah, I have nothing to do, so I'm playing a Blizzard game. And that's fine. But no person is like, yeah, Blizzard's the best. Now, everyone knows Blizzard is trash. Imagine what would happen if this complete shit company had actual power over you as a consumer. That would be horrible.
Had years of it. They had an absolutely renowned and beloved name in multiplayer gaming. Like, the Blizzard drama of today did not exist back then. People die-hard loved the company. And as time went on, they would have all of the key technologies that any digital storefront would need. Like, by 2004, which is after Warcraft 3, but before World of Warcraft, they had 12 million active users, and at the time they defined that as somebody who had used the service in the past 90 days. Their average concurrency, not peak, average, was around 200,000, which, yeah, is peanuts to Steam's like 35 million right now, but that was back in 2004, and soon after...
Yeah, exactly, that is a lot. That is probably more massive than Steam, honestly, for that time period.
An anecdote, they said that if they were to combine Battle.net and World of Warcraft, not even Xbox Live would have been close. They were absolutely humongous. But of course, a few years back in 2000, they declined the pitch for Mike O'Brien, and soon enough later, Mike O'Brien and a small group of people left Blizzard. And when they left Blizzard, they formed another company called ArenaNet, and they went on to make Guild Wars. Now, obviously, Blizzard found its cash cow in World of Warcraft, but they somehow actually missed out on the even bigger play of potentially having Steam-like market dominance, because they had all the technology and they could have beat Steam to the punch by multiple years. Now, this is all drama that took place.
Again, I mean, Steam is just a good platform that constantly innovates, well, currently innovates. Again, previously, they didn't do it. Steam was like, okay, we're just gonna exist and make money. That was all they did. But now they're actually innovating in a lot of ways that are helpful and good for gamers. And, I mean, shit. I think Steam would still start to take over, even if Blizzard was first, because Blizzard has no idea what being good to the consumer even means. You know?
20 years ago, but history has that funny habit of echoing, and today the story actually changes a bit, and that is because Battle.net is changing. Avowed is the next role-playing game from Obsidian, and
Battle.net already, not Steam, but Blizzard already tried this. Yeah, sure, they have the Steam launch. If Blizzard has no chance of making their launcher actually viable. First of all, there is the precedent of Ubisoft trying to do it horribly failing, obviously. Bethesda trying to do it horribly failing, obviously. The Blizzard launcher works because Blizzard has multiple games that people who play Blizzard games want to use. That's why it works. Okay, listen. For example, the people who play Blizzard games, they fucking hate the fact that they get COD ads. Getting COD ads almost makes me want to delete my Blizzard launcher, because it's just so stupid. How many times are you going to show me COD, assholes? I hate it. I don't play COD. I'm not a brain-damaged Zoomer. Okay? I'm never going to play COD. Stop showing it to me. Every time even the Blizzard launcher is extremely shit. Now, even if you ignore things like COD and, for example, Overwatch, because it's like, oh, we have seen you play World of Warcraft. Whenever you log into, I don't know, Diablo, we're gonna give you a World of Warcraft hat, and vice versa and whatnot. It is so bad. Whatever Blizzard's plan is, they're never gonna succeed because their launcher is just too shit. They're too greedy, and it's never gonna work, thankfully.
It's actually on Battle.net right now. It's the first non-Activision Blizzard game to hit BNet, and it's part of something that most people will not have noticed, and that's Game Pass integration. Now, Game Pass for PC is an
Also, the Blizzard store is horrible. Like, if most people can't even find where you look at patch notes for games that you play on this thing. Okay, the Blizzard store is light years behind Steam. You don't know how to play this version of a game. You don't know how to play this version of a game. It's so complicated and dumb. Unless you're playing like 1 or 2 games and you never need to switch between versions or do anything like that, the Blizzard launcher then is good. But the moment you need to actually like find something in it, the Blizzard launcher becomes absolute aberrant trash.
Absurdly good deal. Like, it really is kind of goofy. Over on the console, right, Microsoft split their offering so that the main catalog of games is $10.99 a month. But if you want new games on day one, well, that's only on the $14.99 Ultimate subscription. Now on PC, it's so much better. You get for $9.99 all of that stuff, the full library, day one games, and EA Play, all bundled in for $9.99. And that even includes lots of Activision Blizzard titles. As an example, they just added Spyro Reignited, StarCraft 2 Campaign Collection, StarCraft Remastered, Call of Duty's there now. So if you're a console player on the basic Game Pass, you're shit out of luck. If you're on PC, you get the new COD campaign. And of course, earlier this year, we saw Diablo 4. And to set it up, all you need to do is just go into the Game and Subscriptions tab of account management and link your account there. Which, to be honest, until my friends told me, I didn't even know that was a thing. Which,
of course you didn't. Literally no one did, because the Blizzard launcher's terrible. The moment you need to do anything else but open the launcher and play on the game that you want, it becomes pain.
really does say something for Microsoft's marketing of the feature. But anyway, what we see here is Microsoft using what may be one of their greatest untapped resources in gaming, Battle.net. Now, with Avowed confirmed to be on Battle.net, I can only assume the trend will continue, and that means we should expect first-party titles to make their way onto BNet and...
Yay, another dead game on Battle.net. Wow.
Of course, if Microsoft
Avowed is not never making it as a good game.
Really wants to grow on PC,
it's over.
They'll bring as much of their library as they can. And what most people don't really realize is that Battle.net is not just a launcher for World of Warcraft and Overwatch. It can actually handle it. Take a look at the app, and it's got home, it's got games, it's got store pages, and a bar for favorites.
Yeah, all of this is shit, Belliard. What are you talking about? None of this works fine. None of this is understandable. Again, you can't actually use this properly. It's just pain. Trust me, the moment you start trying to use this, it's like, okay, and this sucks.
Games, it's got store pages and a bar for favorites. If you click in games, well, you basically see a grid view that's really easily navigable. There's a sidebar, there's search, there's sorting, and right now it's got 27 games. Now, I only play a handful of them, so I just use the favorites bar. It's actually a really good app, and kind of like Steam, it's architected with all of the robust security and, bandwidth to handle big launches, all of those things. Now, if Microsoft do put loads of things on, obviously there is the risk of enshittification, and I'd never expect Battle.net to have feature parity with Steam, like user reviews and stuff, or mods, and they probably shouldn't try to do that. They'd probably cock it up, but what it is right now is a good user experience for what it is, because it's focused, but it also has got the UI to handle Game Pass for PC, and it's even got the integration, which of course is something that Steam does not have, and for Microsoft, it would not make much sense to put Game Pass over onto Steam. You see, Microsoft's pricing takes into account how Game Pass gets people onto their platform. Now, for the longest time in PC, that meant you using the awful Xbox app. I mean, man, it's way better than it used to be today, but it still blows. Now, though, they're not limited to that app, and that means that they, unlike Epic Games, can actually compete. And that's the real meat of today's story, Microsoft's battle against Steam. So this was the deal when Call of Duty Black Ops 6 came out. It's going to be the deal when Avowed comes out. You could buy it for $69.99 in Steam, or you could just get a month of Game Pass PC for the price of 2 coffees, and you could go and play it.
Thank you, but I will choose to download it for free permanently.
And with something like Black Ops 6, I mean, if you only wanted to play the 6, 7, 8 hour long campaign, well, you just buy a month of Game Pass PC, you don't buy the game, and there you go, you've got what you wanted for a few quid. Now, in the console space, Game Pass is trying to compete with Sony's PlayStation, but there's a problem, right? Once you've bought a PS5, you're kind of screwed from Microsoft's perspective. It doesn't matter how good the Game Pass deal is, you've got a PlayStation. They can't lure you over. A value-oriented customer is not going to go, wow, Game Pass is such a great deal, I'm just going to buy another console. That's not the case in PC, because nobody's locked into hardware. Users are nowhere near as locked in, it's just software, and that means that Microsoft can feel far more competitive than they are in the console space. And this is something that's reflected in their pricing model. You see, Game Pass on console was initially a stupidly good deal, and that's because they were optimizing for new user acquisition, for making Xbox Series look like a good bet.
Yeah. And then people get mad because it's shit. How did that work out for them? Not great. Not great. But, I mean, it's probably good enough considering Microsoft is literally abandoning gaming as a concept and just being like, hey, we're just gonna sell stuff, and that's kind of good. We're just gonna go Game Pass, and that's kind of good. Yeah, it is insane. Anyway, Microsoft is done. It's hilarious. Anyway, I would love to see Blizzard try and attempt to rival Steam, and everyone just mocking them throughout the door out, so they get what they deserve. Anyway, that was Bellier. Bye.